Yo, Gibbb here. So recently in the ZZ community, there's been a lot of discussion about this bad boy right in front of me. It is called the Deadly Assault game mode. We fight 3 bosses. You need 3 different teams for them. People are talking about the HP inflating in this mode. Is it good? Is it bad? Should it be addressed? Should it be managed? Let's talk about that. First thing, I want to give my opinion without talking about anything else because I will be talking about Average Gamer and they had a call with EO and Josh and Kate. I think those people on there. Also, I think like Saint rated ALG, like mid thing, but I don't think he was reading chat, which is good because I'll be honest, that's like putting fuel on the fire, in my opinion. But so ALG has this video here, my honest thoughts on Zenless Zone Zero's Endgame. I kind of want to go through this. Is a 5-minute video. I'm not making this, by the way. We're not making this like a 10-hour video, 10-hour react. I'm making this less than 10 minutes, okay?
I love Zenless.
Maybe not, though, because I want to show his whole video, because if I just shorten it,
but
then like
recently
you won't know where he's coming from.
Less fun. And I did a very...
I'll kind of skip around, though. Pretty much he's talking about ZZ Endgame. He thinks it feels less fun, but I think the main portion we need to read, we need to listen through is right here.
About why Endgame feels less fun. So Endgame currently feels less fun because it's harder and harder to play the way that you want to play. And part of the cause of this is HP inflation. So this graph here is showing the HP from where it was and when Deadly Assault started back in 1.4 all the way up to now. And you can see it started under 200 million, like 190 million-ish HP, and it's now over 330 million HP. So it's a pretty big increase. And pushing HP up like this is making the game a little harder each time it happens. And it's a little bit difficult.
I think another thing that's a problem is if people look at a graph and that's it. I feel like just looking at a graph, it can't tell you all the information of a game. You don't get like all the data, Like, okay, HP went up right here, okay, but we also just got a new set, right? All I'm saying. Now, once again, I don't think HP should increase. I'm just saying there's other stuff people should look into when they say HP increased. Okay, well, was there a reason for it, or was for no reason at all? I think something people should address that'd be worse is the HP from this little tab here going up here, because nothing happened here besides Yuzaha coming out. What if you didn't get Yuzaha, right? I don't know which patches these even are. I could be wrong. I'm just thinking in my head, this is probably when Yuzaha came out. Anyways.
Difficult sometimes to call it out when this is happening. And we have been saying for a little while that, it's something that we need to keep an eye on. And I think now it's reached a tipping point where it's like, okay, this is definitely a pretty big problem now. It's not just HP that's the problem, though. It's also the boss design. And I'll explain. So the bosses are being designed in a way where they work with very specific characters or very specific teams. And what this is doing is it's limiting player creativity, flexibility, and expression by meaning that you have to run certain teams into certain bosses. Now, stay with me here, because right now, at 330...
Okay, I half agree and half disagree with this point, because DA, I think, came out with the creator refine me. That is the most restrictive guy. If we're gonna go I don't think current day DA is, but I still think DA itself is a good concept. But if we're talking restrictive, I think that was that guy was already super restrictive. I think they've gotten better when they have, but also we shouldn't have it be no mechanics at all, because people talk about Typhoon a lot, right? Another thing is the last DA, right? We had Typhoon. He is the easiest guy ever. You can run any character on him and you can do anything and you will clear. But I don't think that's a good idea, because it's kind of brain dead, no? You can do absolutely anything and you will clear. You don't have to think of... Now, obviously, you have to play with the boss mechanic, but the boss mechanic is he's going to parry when he does the rockets. Or he's going to do an attack. You should parry when he does the rockets. He's going to get stunned. But this is only mechanic. I do think bosses should have some layers of mechanics on them.
30 million total HP. I think the Defiler specifically has 99 million HP, and you can still brute force the Defiler with anomaly teams. However, the boss does not exist in isolation without the context of this history. And the history here is telling us that the HP is going to go up on that boss. And it's going to go up on Fiend, and it's going to go up on Priest, and it's going to go up on Dead and Butcher. And that means that as that boss HP goes higher, it gets harder and harder for players to express creativity and to play the game the way that they want to play it. And it forces us to use the specific teams that the game wants us to use against these bosses, which for me feels less fun. It also becomes a much steeper learning curve for people coming in, and it's going to become harder for players to pull all of the characters they need for these teams, potentially. Especially if the HP continues to go up, then the idea of normalizing 2 or 3 limited S ranks per team will be something that happens. And that's where I am about the whole thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you here.
Okay, I thought he was going to say more. He kind of just was talking about the HP. That's it.
What I'm going to send...
Wait, how do people have 30-minute to an hour reaction on this? What?
Feedback survey. I'm going to do it right after I recorded this. You can open the game, you can go in, you can leave feedback.
All right, anyways, that was it. Okay, and he also has a note here. If we, I can't zoom in on it. He has a note here saying HP inflation has been aggressive recently. It is happening too fast. There's a necessity in gacha games, but it feels like they need to slow down in ZZ because of limiting creativity. Um, Also, he thinks that the HP inflation is to make people who spend more, and people who spend more spend even more, and that it'll lose players. So that's valid. That's valid. All right, now other thing was right. I saw this call that was going on, and I seen like 30 minutes of it. So I don't have the full context of this call, right? But when I joined his stream, it was called 1v4ing the ZZZ Elitists. But the people on call was EO, Joshua, Kate, and him. I think, unless there's a fifth person to call that. There's like a mystery mouse Cthulhu fifth person. Um, as far as I know, Kate is not one, so that makes it 1v3. And then, but I don't know who the fourth person is, so I think it's 1v2. No. Um, maybe he thought Kate was going to um, be like not on his side or something. I don't know. Kate seemed kind of middleman in my opinion. He just was more explaining things where people would say something. He wasn't really a middleman on the call. I think Nyx GX, if you don't know who Nyx GX is, he doesn't make content, but he's around in the community. He knows after they finished their call, they're still streaming right now actually. Nyx talked to Josh and EO about how people are discussing stuff, because people are going to call this an argument, but I think it was a discussion. Now, at the end of the discussion, right, ALG said he started the stream very hot because he was reacting to a Josh video, right? And he said that he had a lot to disagree with in the Josh video, and he said that Josh was like kind of undermining a lot of his points, and he felt like kind of he felt a negative, a negative aura coming to him from that. So he came into the call hot. But then as he got into the call, right, he felt that, oh, they're actually not, completely against me, and they're kind of seeing my light of view here. But yeah, anyways, I think they should have had Nyx on the call. I'm not gonna lie. I think Nyx said he was like busy or some junk though. Nyx should 100% be on the call. I think they need to do another call where Nyx is on the call, or to get me on the call. I'm not gonna lie. I could be a middleman. I play ZZZ. I play all the games. Okay. Um, Another thing I want to talk about is apparently ALG got raided by Saint, and I gotta be honest. There's got to be a little bit of bad faith in that raid. No, you have the whole Woo-Wah community go in to when ALG is talking to multiple other ZZZ people and trying to like Aaron Yeager in his ear, ZZZ garbage. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, that's my opinion on that. I like, W raid, W support all that, but I feel like there's a little Aaron Yeager in the ear on that one, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, I think the HP inflation is also bad. But I think the biggest thing, okay, also, I missed part of this call, so maybe they talked about it. This whole call, from what I seen in the last 30 minutes, I think, they were all talking about 9-starring the Deadly Assaults. You don't need 9 stars on Deadly Assaults to get the rewards of Deadly Assaults. So, um, in fact, getting 9 stars gives you almost nothing. You get 75k Denny's. That goes nowhere. It's something, but like you already are getting like 125k, so like an extra 75k of that, it's something, but it's not like crazy or anything, in my opinion. Now, I don't know if this was ever addressed in their conversation, but I didn't see it. Now, like I said, feigning ignorance here because I didn't see the whole call. But yeah, I think the biggest thing, like I said, was buffs. I think the buffs are bad. Having buffs that shield too hard are really bad, especially if 2 out of 3 of the buffs are super shield. And then if 3 out of 3 of the buffs are shield, then that's the worst thing ever. Right now we have, okay, this is a buff for seed. There's one. I think the fact that they even made it so you lose part of the buff if you're not using Seed is kind of shameless. Because you're not going to run 2 attackers outside of playing Seed, right? So if you are a non-Seed owner, you lose half of this buff, right? And then the middle buff, only anomaly agents can use this, which is fine, but they do get 20% defense shred. Now, most anomaly units can use a good majority of this buff. So I don't think this buff is completely bad. right? But I think the worst part is this third buff. I think this third buff is absolute garbage. You only get ultimate damage, and then after you do your ultimate, you get attack percent. And then you get a stun multiplier on stun. I think this buff is buns, in my opinion. But also, I think the Defiler is also buns because of her last part of the fight. I don't know if they talked about this as well. The Defiler is really bad boss because of the soldiers charging in at the end. That is absolutely terrible. I don't know. I don't know why they added that in. Yeah, you lose like maybe 5 to 10K points from that part where they have the soldiers charge it. It might give you 1K performance points, but that doesn't matter. Anyways, this is my 2 cents from Gibbb. Kind of disorganized, kind of organized. Who knows? Let me know what you guys think about the ZZZ, HP, end games, all that type of stuff. Also, this shield defense just reset, and I think the buff is terrible. I think the buff is bad. I'm gonna be honest. There's a buff. You get 10% attack for your attack agent if you're an anomaly agent that is electric or physical. Electric or physical. So if you're ether, fire, you don't get anything. You get 30%, and it's 30%. Also, the way this is worded, in my what I've seen, you only get this buff if you're electric and physical. Anyways, that's like a whole nother topic. It's another topic. Anyways, Gibbb out. My 2 cents on this whole thing. See ya.